My name is Grace Carter. I'm 32 years old, and last Christmas my own brother stood up from the dinner table, grabbed two bulging black trash bags, and threw them right at my feet like I was the garbage pickup. One hit my leg with a dull thud, knocking mud and snow onto my jeans. The whole table went quiet for half a second. Then I heard it. The little snorts, the smirks being swallowed behind napkins, the fake coughs covering laughter. "You're not family anymore," my brother said, staring straight through me. "You and that kid don't belong here." I felt my daughter flinch behind me, her small fingers digging into my coat, but nobody even looked at her like she was a real person. My mother finally stood, slowly, like she was tired of pretending. Her eyes slid over me and landed on my child. "She doesn't belong here either," she said, each word sharp and precise. "She's just a reminder of your mistakes." My chest burned, but I didn't cry. I'd already cried enough in this house growing up. My sister leaned back in her chair, folded her arms, and let out a short laugh. "Seriously, Grace, shut up. Sit down, eat, and get out before you ruin this holiday, like you ruin everything else." Someone muttered, "Just be grateful we even let you in." And utensils started clinking again like this was just some entertainment before dessert. My sister jerked her chin toward my daughter. "Watch closely, kid. That's what failure looks like." I felt something inside me click, like a lock turning. I picked up my child's backpack, ignored the trash bags at my feet, and looked my brother dead in the eyes. "Thanks," I said calmly. "I'll remember this." He smirked like it was a victory. He had no idea what he'd just started. I took my daughter's hand, turned my back on all of them, and walked out of that house like I was walking out of a burning building. I didn't slam the door. I didn't scream. I just left. And that scared them more than any scene I could have made. Before I show you exactly how I turned that night into the one thing they never saw coming, and how I made every single word they threw at me cost them more than they ever imagined, tell me, what time is it for you right now, and where are you watching from? I really want to see how far this perfect family Christmas story is about to travel. The second the cold air hit our faces, my daughter squeezed my hand. "Are we in trouble?" she whispered. "No," I said, even though my voice shook. "They are." We walked to my old beat-up car, the one they'd mocked in the driveway, and I buckled her in with fingers that wouldn't stop trembling. I sat in the driver's seat, hands on the wheel, heart pounding so hard I could hear it, and for a moment I almost did what I'd always done: swallow it, make excuses for them, tell myself, that's just how they are. But then I looked in the rearview mirror and saw my little girl's face, wide-eyed and confused, and I knew this was it. This was the last time she would ever see me take that kind of disrespect and call it family. Have you ever had a moment where humiliation snaps into clarity like a switch, and you suddenly see everyone's role in your life? Growing up, my brother, Jake, had called me the mistake. My mom, Barbara, loved to remind me of every bad decision I'd ever made, from the guy I dated at 19 to getting pregnant with my daughter, Lily, without a ring on my finger. My sister, Hannah, played the perfect child, the one who followed all the rules, and she made sure I felt how far I fell short of that image every time she looked at me. They'd always treated me like the family cautionary tale. Tonight, they upgraded me to the villain. So I did something I'd never done before. I took out my phone and scrolled to the video I'd started recording the moment we'd walked in. I'd hit record out of pure instinct, thinking I might need proof one day that I wasn't crazy, that it really was that bad. There it was. The trash bags, the lines about not belonging, my mother calling my daughter a mistake, the sound of their laughter. My stomach turned, but another feeling rose above the nausea. Power. I pressed play with the volume low so Lily wouldn't hear it again, but I watched their faces on the screen like I was watching strangers. "Mom?" Lily said softly from the back seat. Do they hate us? My throat tightened. This was the question I'd been dodging my whole life, just in different words. They don't hate you, I said carefully. They don't even know you. And they don't get to decide who we are. I pulled the car out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I watched the house shrink behind us. White lights, big wreath, the image of a cozy Christmas postcard that hit a rotten core. Where are we going? She asked. To a hotel tonight, I said. And then, we're going to build something they can never touch. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Claire. How's Christmas at the farm? Surviving? I took a deep breath and typed back. You're not going to believe this. Call? 5 minutes later, I was parked outside a cheap roadside motel, Lily dozing in the back seat, and Claire's voice filled my ear. I told her everything, fast and flat, like I was reading a police report. The trash bags, the words, the way they laughed, the way my mom looked at my child, the way I walked out. Grace, she said slowly, this is abuse, just with tinsel. It's just them, I started, then stopped, because hearing myself say just them felt like choosing them over my daughter. You recorded it? She asked. Yeah. Good, she said. Because if they want to treat you and your kid like trash, then it's time the world sees what's really inside their pretty little Christmas postcard. You don't have to take this lying down anymore. I stared at the blinking red vacancy sign and felt something settle inside me. I wasn't just hurt. I was done. You know the family business is everything to them, Claire reminded me. Jake's always bragging online about the perfect Christmas tree farm, perfect family, perfect life. What if you use the one thing they care about most against them? I looked down at my phone, at the frozen frame of Jake holding those black bags, and thought, for the first time, I have proof. And for the first time, I'm not afraid to use it. The next morning, Lily sat cross-legged on the motel bed eating dry cereal from a paper cup, cartoons flickering on the TV. I sat at the tiny desk, staring at my laptop, the recording open on the screen. The easy option would have been to delete it and pretend last night was just another painful memory to bury. That's what my family always counted on. That I'd be too scared, too loyal, too desperate for crumbs of love to ever push back. But I thought about Lily asking if they hated us, and about how many years I'd spent wishing my own mother would look at me and see a person instead of a problem to manage. What if I stopped wishing? What if I started fighting? First, I made a copy of the video and backed it up in 3 different places: cloud, external drive, email to myself. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched Christmas Tree Farm, Carter Family Town Name articles. Pages and pages came up. Local news segments, glowing reviews, posts about the most wholesome family-run farm for the holidays. There they were, Jake grinning for the camera, my mom arranging garland, my sister handing out cider. Perfect. So perfect it almost made me laugh. They'd turned their image into a brand. And brands can be broken. Claire called again. Did you sleep? She asked. Not really, I admitted. I've been reading about them like they're strangers. It's like my childhood got rewritten into their marketing copy. Good, she said. You need distance to see the whole picture. What's their weakest point? I thought about it. My brother's ego. My mom's obsession with what people think. My sister's social media presence. But underneath all that, the farm, that land, that story of 3 siblings running Dad's legacy together. Money and reputation, I said. They care more about those than about any actual person. Then that's where you hit them, Claire replied. But do it smart. Don't just post the video and start a war you're not ready for. Find out exactly what they owe you first. That's when I opened a folder I hadn't let myself look at in years. Old legal documents, emails from the lawyer who'd handled my father's estate. My dad had loved that farm, but he'd also loved pretending everything was fair when it wasn't. The will had said the property would be divided among the three of us, but when I got pregnant with Lily and refused to marry her father just to fix my image, my mom had convinced me to sign some papers, so it would be easier to manage things while you're figuring your life out. I'd sign them at the kitchen table, a pen in one hand, a baby monitor in the other. Back then, I trusted her. Back then, I still believed family meant protection. Now, reading those scanned documents, I saw exactly what I'd done. I'd given up control of my share temporarily, except the word temporary never appeared. Control had been reassigned in perpetuity to my brother as primary manager, with my mom as co-signer. My name was barely more than a footnote. "You were 24, Claire said when I sent her screenshots. They knew exactly what they were doing. Anger throbbed behind my eyes. They stole my inheritance and then threw trash bags at me for showing up to the house that helped pay for this whole image. "So you hit back in two ways," she said, "legally and socially. Lawyer up. And when the time is right, let people see what their perfect Christmas looks like behind the scenes." That thought scared me. Putting this out there would mean exposing my own humiliation too. But then I asked myself the question I'd avoided for years. If I keep protecting their reputation, who's protecting my daughter? I found a local attorney who specialized in family and property law and sent an email with the subject line, "Urgent. Possible coercion and fraud in inheritance documents." I attached the files. Then, with my heart pounding, I opened a blank account on social media under a handle that didn't use our last name. I uploaded a still frame from the video, just the trash bags at my feet, no faces yet, and typed, "Ever been treated like trash by the people who are supposed to love you the most? Yeah, me too. Wait until you hear what my family said when I showed up for Christmas with my kid." I didn't hit post. Not yet. Instead, I saved it in drafts. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about timing. I wasn't going to blow up their brand with a scream. I was going to dismantle it piece by piece, the way they'd dismantled my confidence for years. And the next Christmas season, when their business mattered most, they were going to learn exactly what it felt like to be on the wrong end of family. 6 months later, summer heat baked the town I'd sworn I'd never move back to. But there I was, 2 streets away from the main square, signing a lease for a small, run-down storefront. "You sure you want this?" the landlord asked, eyeing Lily as she colored quietly at a corner table. "It needs a lot of work." "So do we," I said with a half smile. "We'll manage." I'd gotten a job I could do remotely for a marketing firm in the city, and between that and some savings, I could afford the rent if I was careful. On paper, it was just an office. In my head, it was the command center for the quiet war I was about to wage. My attorney, Mark, had responded to my email with strong words. "You have a case, but it will take time. They will fight dirty. Are you prepared for that?" I was. I was more prepared for that than for another Christmas pretending everything was fine. He'd started digging into the property documents, the tax records, the way Jake had used the farm as collateral for loans to expand the experience, hay rides, hot cocoa stands, Instagrammable photo zones. All of it cost money. All of it relied on the story of the loving family business. At the same time, my anonymous account started to grow. I posted short clips of audio with the words blurred, snippets of conversations about, "You're not family anymore. She's just a mistake," layered over stock footage of Christmas dinners and tree farms. I never used names. I never showed faces. I just told the truth as a woman whose family turned Christmas into a weapon. People flooded the comments. "This happened to me too. My mom said the same thing about my kids. Please tell us what you did. Do you know how powerful it feels the first time strangers don't question your pain, but nod and say, 'Same?'" Every time I wanted to back down, I opened that app and read those comments. I wasn't just doing this for me anymore. I was doing it for every kid who got called a mistake and every parent who decided that cycle ended with them. Meanwhile, Jake flourished online. He started a channel for the farm, posting behind-the-scenes content talking about legacy and family values. My mom appeared in videos, all smiles and warm hugs. My sister hosted giveaways. I watched it all from my tiny office, laptop balanced on boxes, teeth clenched. "You know what this is?" Claire said over video chat one night. "This is a PR campaign. They're building a shield. But you know PR too, Grace. You work in marketing. They're not the only ones who can control a story." She was right. So I started planning phase 2. If they were going to build their identity on being the heart of Christmas in this town, then I was going to become the voice for everyone Christmas had hurt. My office turned into a studio. I bought a second-hand microphone, a cheap ring light, and recorded my first long-form story time under that anonymous handle. I told the trash bag story in full. No names, no location, but every word true. I ended it with, "Next Christmas, I'm not going back as the girl they throw out. I'm going back as the woman who owns the receipts." The video exploded. Views, comments, duets from people sharing their own worst holiday memories. I watched the numbers climb and thought about my mother, who cared more about what the neighbors thought than about how her own daughter felt. What would she do if the neighbors recognized her words in that story one day? My lawyer called 2 weeks later. "We found something interesting," he said. "Your brother refinanced the property last year. He took on a big loan to expand, using the farm as collateral. He's been making payments, but barely. If something hits their revenue hard during the holiday season, they could default." "Meaning?" I asked. "Meaning the bank might be very open to selling that debt," he replied. "And if someone bought that note, that person would have a lot of leverage over what happens to the farm." My heart slammed against my ribs. "Are you saying I could own my family's mortgage?" "If you want to," he said. "If you can handle what comes with that." I thought about my brother's face when he threw those trash bags. My mother's voice calling my daughter a reminder of my mistakes. My sister telling my kid to watch me as an example of failure. "Send me the numbers," I said. "Let's see how much it costs to stop being the one they can throw away." By the time leaves started to turn, I had a plan, a folder full of documents, and a knot of fear and excitement twisted so tight in my stomach I could barely tell them apart. The bank had been more than willing to talk. The farm's debt was large, the risk was high, and I showed up with a clean credit record, a steady income, and a cosigner, Claire, who believed in me more than my own family ever had. We didn't buy the whole farm. We bought the note, the debt. The thing hanging over my brother's head that he had no idea was about to have my name on it. "You understand this doesn't make you the owner yet," Mark reminded me. "But if they miss payments, you have options before foreclosure. You can renegotiate terms. You can set conditions. You can decide what forgiveness looks like." "Oh, I know exactly what it looks like," I said. "An apology my daughter can hear." As the Christmas season approached again, my anonymous account reached a milestone. Hundreds of thousands of followers. People messaged me asking for part 2, part 3, begging to know what happened when you went back. I hadn't gone back yet. I'd been building everything so that when I did, I wouldn't be walking in as the girl with nothing. I'd be walking in as the woman holding the one thing they respected: power. One night, I sat at the kitchen table in our small rental, Lily doing homework beside me. "Mom," she said suddenly, "are we going back to the Christmas farm this year?" My pen froze on the paper. "Do you want to?" I asked. She hesitated. "Last time was bad, but..." She fiddled with her pencil. "That's still my grandma and my uncle and my aunt, right?" I swallowed. How do you explain to a child that family is sometimes the people you have to put behind a fence to keep your heart safe? They're related to us, I said carefully. But family is about how people treat you, not just about blood. So, if they apologize, can they be family again? She asked. Maybe, I said honestly. But this time, we get to decide what's okay and what's not. Not them. She nodded slowly, processing. Will they say sorry? She asked. If they want to keep their precious Christmas? I thought. Out loud, I just said, we'll see. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I received an automated email. Carter Christmas Farm Season Launch Event. Join us for our biggest year yet. I snorted. Biggest year yet? They had no idea. I bought 2 tickets. On the morning of the event, I dressed Lily in her warmest coat and knitted hat and pulled on my own jacket, hands shaking as I zipped it. My phone buzzed. It was Mark. Everything's in place, he said. You're current on the note. They're technically in good standing, for now. But you have every right to visit the property, and you have every right to request a meeting as the holder of their debt. And if they throw trash bags at me again? I asked dryly. Then we move up the timeline, he said. But remember, your goal isn't to destroy the land, it's to reset the balance. Claire texted next. You got this. Remember, you're not going as the broken daughter. You're going as the woman who owns the leverage. Walk like it. At the farm, cars lined the road. Music drifted from speakers, and kids ran around laughing with cups of hot chocolate. It looked exactly like their videos. Perfect, magical, warm. My chest tightened. All my worst memories were wrapped in twinkle lights and fake cheer. As we approached the entrance, my brother was there in his branded jacket, greeting guests, smiling for selfies. When he saw me, his smile froze. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered. You actually came back? My mother hovered a few steps behind him, her face draining of color. My sister, standing near the cocoa stand, lowered her phone mid-Instagram story. For a second, nobody moved. Then I smiled, not the shaky, desperate smile I used to have around them, but a calm, deliberate one. We bought tickets just like everyone else, I said. We're here to enjoy the farm. Jake stepped closer, lowering his voice. We told you last year. You're not welcome here. I'm not doing this drama again. That's funny, I said quietly. Because your farm is very welcome in my portfolio. Confusion flashed across his face. What are you talking about? I leaned in just enough for him to smell how unafraid I was. I own your debt, Jake. The bank sold your note. The person who decides how long this place stays open? I tapped my chest. Hi. His jaw dropped. You're lying. My mother rushed forward. Grace, what are you playing at? Don't ruin this day. I pulled a folded letter from my bag and handed it to Jake. It was a formal notice from Mark's office confirming the transfer of the note and identifying me as the new holder. His eyes scanned it, and the color drained from his face. My mother snatched it from his hand and read it herself. This is ridiculous, she stammered. How could you? Why would you? Because last year you threw trash at me and called my child a mistake, I said evenly. And then you used our family name and Dad's legacy to build this cute little empire on my back while cutting me out of everything. So I decided if I was going to be the trash, I might as well be the garbage truck. My sister, who'd been listening from a few feet away, swallowed hard. You can't just show up and threaten us in front of customers, she hissed. We'll call security. I'm not threatening you, I said. I'm explaining the new reality. You want your season to go smoothly? You want those sponsorships and influencers and local news segments? Great. Then you're going to do one simple thing first. My mother glared at me. And what's that? You're going to stand in front of my daughter, look her in the eyes, and apologize for what you said last Christmas. I replied. All of you, clearly, without excuses. And I'm going to record it. You could have heard a pine needle drop. My mother's lips pressed into a thin line. You're blackmailing your own family? She whispered. No, I said. I'm holding you accountable. There's a difference. You've been trash-talking me my entire life and got away with it because I was a scared kid who needed you. I don't need you anymore. But you need this farm. So decide which matters more, your pride or your Christmas business. Jake crumpled the letter in his fist. You wouldn't tank the farm, he said. Dad loved this place. Lily loves this place. You'd hurt her too. I won't have to, I replied. All I have to do is adjust your payment terms, make a few calls, maybe politely let your sponsors know that the wholesome family they're backing screamed, "You're not family," at a 7-year-old, and threw garbage at her mom. I won't have to hurt you. Your own behavior will do that for you. My sister stepped forward, eyes darting around at the people walking past us, oblivious to the tension. We can talk about this privately, she said quickly. You're making a scene. Last year you made a scene, I reminded her. You used my humiliation as entertainment for your holiday dinner. This time I'm giving you privacy, because I'm only asking for a private apology. But if you say no, I raised my phone slightly. Then I go public. And trust me, the world is a lot more interested in this story than you think. She paled. She'd seen the anonymous account. I could tell by the flicker of recognition on her face. She just hadn't realized the woman whose family turned Christmas into a weapon was me. My mother pulled herself up to her full height, the same way she did when she used to lecture me as a teenager. You're being cruel, she said. You're weaponizing your daughter. You already did that, I said quietly. When you called her a mistake to her face. I'm just making sure that if she ever watches that recording one day, she'll also have this one. The day you chose to be better. Or didn't. I turned to Lily, who had been standing quietly by my side, eyes darting between us. Sweetheart, I said gently, do you remember what Grandma and Uncle said last year? She nodded slowly. They said we didn't belong, she whispered, and that I was bad. My heart cracked, but I kept my voice steady. Today, they're going to fix that. Or we're going to leave and never come back. And they're going to lose this place because of their own choices. I looked back at my mother. Last chance. You apologize, clearly and sincerely to her. You admit you were wrong. And then we talk about what the future of this farm looks like. For all of us. Or you keep pretending you've done nothing wrong. And I stop pretending you're decent people. My mother's eyes filled with tears. For a second, I saw not the woman who'd drilled shame into me for years, but someone cornered by the very image she'd built. She cared desperately about being seen as good. Fine, she choked out. Fine, we'll talk to her. We moved off to the side near a row of trees where the music was quieter. I hit record on my phone and held it low, but steady. My mother knelt down, awkwardly, like the ground might bite her, and looked at Lily. I'm sorry, she said, the words clearly foreign in her mouth. What I said last year was wrong. You are not a mistake. You are my granddaughter. You belong here as much as anyone. Jake cleared his throat, shifting from foot to foot. Yeah, he muttered. I shouldn't have said you're not family. That was messed up. I was angry at your mom and I took it out on you. I'm sorry. My sister added. And I shouldn't have said what I said either. I was trying to be funny. It wasn't. I'm sorry. Lily stared at them, then at me. Do you mean it? She asked in a tiny voice. My mother hesitated, then nodded. Yes, she said, and for once I believed she at least wanted to mean it. I stopped the recording and slipped the phone into my pocket. Good start, I said. But an apology is step one, not the finish line. Jake scowled. What more do you want? Consequences, I said bluntly. You don't get to treat me like trash for years and then act like a single, sorry, resets the clock. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign a legal agreement acknowledging that I was coerced into signing away control of my share of the farm. You're going to restore me as an equal partner, with voting rights. You're going to commit a percentage of this season's profits to a fund in Lily's name for her future. And if you ever speak about her the way you did last year again, I will go public with everything. Names, faces, recordings, documents. And I will not stop until every sponsor, customer, and local news station knows exactly who they're dealing with. My brother swore under his breath. You're insane. No, I said. I'm done being your scapegoat. If you want to keep this place, you're going to learn what real accountability feels like. Mark had already drafted the documents. All they had to do was sign. My mother looked at the lines, the clauses, the consequences spelled out in black and white. You're taking everything, she whispered. No, I answered. I'm taking back only what was mine. The rest? I shrugged. The rest is the bill for all those years you thought I'd never stand up. They signed. Of course they did. Pride is loud, but fear is louder, especially when it smells like foreclosure and public scandal. We met in the farm's cramped office, away from customers and carols, while Lily sipped cocoa outside with Claire, who'd driven in to be there for moral backup. My mother's hand shook as she put pen to paper. Jake's jaw was clenched so tight I could hear his teeth grinding. My sister avoided my eyes completely. There, my mother said sharply, sliding the documents back to Mark. Is that enough blood for you? This isn't blood, I said. It's ink. And for the record, if you'd treated me and my daughter with basic respect, we wouldn't be here. Mark gathered the files, satisfied. Congratulations, he said to me. You're now an equal owner of Carter Christmas Farm with decision-making authority. The words washed over me. All the nights I'd lain awake thinking I had no power, that I was permanently stuck in the role they'd cast me in, the failure, the burden, the mistake. Now I was the person who could decide whether this place survived. Outside, the sky darkened, and the Christmas lights flickered on. I stepped out of the office into the crisp air, feeling the weight of the keys in my pocket. Not just to the office, but to my own narrative. Lily ran up to me, cheeks pink from the cold. Are we okay? She asked. We're better than okay, I said. We're not just visitors anymore, we're owners. Her eyes widened. Like, this is ours? Part of it, I said. Enough of it that nobody can ever tell us we don't belong here again. She grinned, then frowned a little. Does that mean we forgive them? That question sat in the space between us, heavy and complicated. Inside the office, my mother and siblings were probably already rewriting the story in their heads. How I'd forced them, how I was ungrateful, how they were the real victims. People like them never give up a lifetime of excuses in one afternoon. Forgiveness is a process, I said slowly. You know how we learned to stand up for ourselves this year? They have to learn their own lessons too. I'm not going to forget what they did. I'm not going to pretend it didn't hurt. But I am going to make sure it never happens again. To us, or to anyone else here. Over the next weeks, I used my new authority. I changed policies. No more under-the-table pay for seasonal workers. No more family discount for relatives who treated employees like servants. We started a No One Spends Christmas Alone program, giving free trees and tickets to foster families, single parents, and people estranged from their relatives. Every time my mother complained that it ruined the exclusivity, I reminded her that exclusivity is what almost ruined me. Online, my anonymous account finally told the full story. This time, I posted the video. Faces blurred, voices distorted, but the words ringing clear. I followed it with a second video where I sat in my little office, unblurred, unfiltered, name on the screen. Hi, I'm Grace. I'm the girl from the trash bag story. And last year my family said my daughter and I didn't belong at Christmas. This year I own part of their Christmas business. This is what happens when you stop begging for a seat at the table and build your own chair. The response was overwhelming. People didn't just watch. They shared, stitched, commented, cried. Some recognized the farm in the background anyway. Whispers started in town. I heard my mom was mortified. I heard my brother was furious that people knew he'd thrown trash at me. I heard my sister was scrambling to pivot her online presence into healing and growth. Not my problem. The only opinion I cared about was the little girl who now walked onto that farm with her head held high. On Christmas Eve, as the last customers left and the snow began to fall in lazy